Hi, my name is Logan Crane. I'm a 7th, 8th grade science teacher, but I'm also the ESL coordinator for the district. I've been asked to do some professional development today, just a brief amount of professional development, only about 15 minutes, so I won't take up a ton of your time. I just want to apologize early. I'm not as awesome of a videographer as Miss Brasher or Corey, so I guess without further ado, let's just get started. Okay? So our program guide is what I'm going to cover today, and it's located on our website. Corey's been so gracious to put it on the website. You only have to go to the website and go to staff, and then the very bottom of staff, you scroll all the way down to the very bottom, excuse me, is ESOL program guide. And I already have it pulled up because my resources for the computer is very limited, so I'm trying not to pull too many things at once. So if this is what the program guide looks like whenever you click on that tab, and I just want to cover a couple of things while I'm talking. We'll go ahead and just load. But let's see, English language proficiency standards is what we're going to cover today, and I bookmarked this page for you so that you can just click right here and go straight to it. But this basically is to show your students, or show you where your students should be once they're in the program. So if you're wondering what a level for your students might be, a level 1 through level 5, you can use these proficiency standards to try to give you a good general idea of what a level 1 through a level 5 should be able to accomplish in your classroom. So regardless if you're kindergarten or high school grade levels, they're all in here for you. So if you go to, I just clicked on the bookmark for proficiency standards. You don't want to click on the one that says Proficiency Standards, the 235-page version, because that's super long. So I've basically cut and pasted all of the standards at a glance for you right here. So you bookmark this, or I bookmarked this for you. It goes down here to the standards. I'm going to zoom in on a couple just for example. This is the kindergarten English language proficiency standard. And if you're looking at it, if one of the first standards says for level 1, that's someone who's just new to the school, who's never had any type of English proficiency or English language development provided for them. So they're just learning the language. But they should be able to construct meaning from oral presentations, literary and information text through grade appropriate listening, reading, and viewing. So this is what they should, this is the standard that they should be working towards. But a level 1 would only be with prompting and support, include context and visual aids, use a very limited set of strategies, identify very few keywords from read alouds or oral presentations of information or stories. So not a whole lot of things that a level 1 could do, maybe identify a few things. But when they get to level 5, with prompting and support, including context visual aids, just like the other one says, they should be able to identify main topics, answer questions about key details, retell familiar stories from read alouds, picture books, and oral presentations. So these standards, again, this kind of gives you an idea of what they should be able to do. And you have kindergarten grade band, you have first grade band, you have excuse me, and that's all. There's standards 1 through 10 for each one of those. You have second through third grade band, and these are the when I do Alpha 21 testing at the end of the year, and if they're new to the school, these are the grade bands that I test in. So this is second through third. So if the students fall within second through third, then they get tested together. Then we have fourth through fifth grade band, and then you have, sixth through eighth grade band, and then you have ninth through 12th grade band. So this just gives you a general idea of what you could expect someone who might be level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5 would be able to accomplish in your classroom. Now, level 5 is where we want them to be, but studies and research says that should take about 7 years, and that's without interruption to their English language development. So what I mean by that is they didn't come to school, then leave school, maybe transfer schools, get misidentified, something like that, or they maybe have gone back to even their home country and they come back. So if they haven't had interrupted time within their development of their language, then they should reach proficiency within the 7 years. Now, we test on 4 different areas: reading, writing, listening, speaking. And speaking is super important. So if you're not giving the students time enough to speak in the class, whether it be virtual or face-to-face, then they're not going to develop it as quick. So that's like one of my biggest advice pieces I could give you, is to please let them talk. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. So since I'm already close, you can also scroll down to right below these standards, and I have a timeline to proficiency that I put on here. And this gives you an idea of, if you have a student, let's say we've been using kindergarten this whole time. So let's say we're in kindergarten and you have a kindergartner show up, and they come in at a level 1. They've never had any English language development ever in the U.S., and they show up as a level 1. Well, by their second year here, they should be able to progress to a level 2. And then the next year, probably maintain that level 2. And then the fourth year, level 3. And then by their 6th year here, be at a 4, level 5. Now, again, this is with consistent English language development from teachers. If you're and I've talked to parents, and they've been frustrated about this because they always believe that their students should be a lot further along. But when I show them this, then it doesn't help, but it sets them at ease a little bit. So let's say here we have a 6th through 12th timeline for English language proficiency. So they show up at a level 1, which I had a student, say in 7th grade when I started teaching them. They started at a level 1. This is their 3rd year at the school. They should be somewhere around a level 2. But you can see that in their 4th year here, they're probably not going to progress much more than a level 2. So by the time they hit, let's say that this is 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, they might just be at a level 3. So without major leaps and bounds in all 4 of those categories, reading, writing, listening, speaking, they're probably only going to, by the time they graduate, be at a level 3. That doesn't mean that they won't be a level 5, but I'm saying this is research based, and they put this together. The powers that be, people smarter than me, I put this together, so it kind of gives you an idea of where you are. And so if you're talking to parents as well, you can pull this up and kind of give them an idea of where their students should be at. All right, so last thing that I want to show you before I talk to you about virtual, how we can scaffold and accommodate and modify for our virtual students, is I want to show you that there's an exiting change. So if a student's been in an ESOL program, and once they've entered the program, there's only one way to get out of the program, and that's to exit. So they exit either by graduating from high school or by scoring level 5 on the ELPA 21. But in the past, it was very easy to exit a student. So if they took something like the MAP test or ACT Aspire test, and they perform well on the ELPA 21 test, the summative test, and then maintain a C or C average for all their classes, then a teacher or the LPAC committee could exit the student. And that's not the case anymore. So now it's more data driven. So I want to kind of bring this to kind of your understanding. So now there's 15, they call them 15 points, criterion points that they can meet. There's now a thing called the professional judgment rubric. And if you're ever in doubt on something, you can contact myself, and I'll contact the state on whether or not we can use a piece of evidence. But in order for someone to be exited from the program, but you have to have 3 points to exit a student from the program. And ELPA 21 summative test, scoring a 4 or 5 in the areas, reading, writing, listening, speaking, or you have to have 2 other points. These are the 15 points that a teacher can choose from and use this as evidence. So you still can use ACT Aspire, writing, obviously, writing in English for one of the points. They have to perform exceeding or 50% in the 50th percentile. So you can use those, but you could also use star inventory. You can use iStation Renaissance map, reading inventory, writing samples scored by a rubric. So it just can't be a writing sample that the teacher just gave out. The writing sample has to be scored with a rubric that all students within that particular grade was scored on, and then that can be entered as a piece of evidence. So we got a lot more. It's not just the basic 3 that we've always had before. Now there's 15 things that we can choose from, which makes it a little bit better. But again, it's going to be more data driven. So I wanted to talk about that. So, what are ways to support our ESL during classroom virtual learning? So, I wrote down a couple of things, and I'll try to look at those and tell you about them. So, one of them is use audio clips for instructions, reading goals, reading passages. Use audio clips. So, like if I have something I want to convey to the students, then I might do a little audio clip explaining the instructions or read the reading passage to them. So that's something. Video clips are the same. So what I just did in audio, I can do in video clips, and that allows them a face to face, but it also lets them hear it. So if they're struggling with certain words, then they can at least hear it and kind of start to read along a little better. Allowing them to turn their submissions in using audio clips. So I was just talking about those 4 areas: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. They have to speak. If they're not speaking, then they're not getting that that articulation. They're not being able to structure sentences well. So they got to be able to speak. And so if you allow them to turn their assignments in via audio, that would be fantastic. Letting them talk to their neighbors. And I know that's going to be tough where we're at right now with COVID and trying to maintain our social distancing, but they still going to have to be able to talk to somebody. So maybe you can create an atmosphere in the classroom if they're in face to face where they can answer and talk. My wife was telling me something about Flipgrid, where you can do videos to each other and they can actually present their part of their topic in videos. But when they do that, then they get to see their peers, their classroom peers, and what they published, and they can watch those, and that would help them develop a little better. So it's almost like they're buddy learning still through Flipgrid. So I encourage you to use that. I think Corey said that doesn't work virtual, but there's got to be loopholes around that where you do video clips like I'm doing right now, and then upload that as an MP4, and then just maybe post some questions back and forth, and then let them answer it via video. Connect background knowledge, so their background schema. So make sure that you are always connecting something to something they may know. Everybody knows something about drinking water, or something about tying their shoes, or the blue sky outside. So if you're talking about something related to something that you know that they can pull from in their experiences, and use tons of realia. When I say realia, I mean actual things, real things. If I'm going to talk about using headphones, I want to have the headphones there. So make sure that you are utilizing realia. And then again, allow students to use audio to submit assignments. I just said that. So I hope that was helpful. I tried to stay within my 15 minutes. I don't know where I'm at, but if you have any questions, let me know. I do have a ton of resources not on the website, just because Corey said that it doesn't connect to Google Class or our Google Drive. So I didn't want to upload 15 new pages of things. So if you want me to send you a little teacher's help guide, let me know and I'll forward that to you. Thank you and have a great day. Bye. What was it?
It's not a professional. It's me.